Hey gang, here I am working on my pull list for November 2020. We're in the previews catalog looking at the Image Comics section. So, which Image Comics will I be buying for November 2020? Which ones will I pass on? Or to put it another way, which books are going to be great and which ones will suck balls? Stick around and find out. Hey there, Bubby. Welcome to Shanghai. My name is Duke, and this is the pull list. And in this part of the pull list, we are working on Image Comics. Image Comics solicited. That's a word. Solicited. I'm the worst YouTuber ever. Image Comics solicited for November 2020. Now, I've already done a pull list video for Marvel Comics. And so Image, well, let's take a look at it, and we'll see what appeals, what does not. The big whoop of the month appears to be crossover number 1. That's Donny Cates' book, and Donny is the kind of golden child of the comic book industry right now. He might as well be Donny Osmond. Put him on the front page of TigerBeat.com. Everybody loves Donny. Donny! I'm not a fan. I'm really not. I don't dislike him, but it just seems to me his books are very typical of modern comics, that decompressed storytelling. You don't get much in any particular issue. I've tried a few things of his based on the recommendations of others. I tried Venom. I tried Guardians of the Galaxy. I couldn't stick with either book more than a couple of issues. Just didn't feel like I was getting my money's worth. So will he do better on something that is his own baby as opposed to corporate characters at Marvel? Well, I don't know. If we look at the solicitation here, it says, this is our tagline. Imagine everything you thought was fantasy was real. And now join us in a world where reality is dead and anything is possible. Well, that doesn't tell me anything. That tells me nothing about this book, really. The cover's kind of cool, the comic book coming to life and all of that 4-color splendor and glorious dot matrix printing. All of that is just coming out there. But I don't know. So I'm real on the fence. And then I turn to 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 4 pages of preview here. Now, this is kind of important in my buying decision because this is going to be a 36-page book. Image Comics don't have a lot of advertising, so that might well be 30 pages of story. So 4 here, we're looking at what? 1/7, 1/8 of that entire book. And, this is kind of cool, this 2-page spread. Very metatextual. There's not a lot going on, not a lot really to look at, not much for words. So you'd pass over that in the book real quick. But on a metatextual sense, you can see you've got this bright, vividly colored cityscape here, and it's imposing itself on the kind of drab, IRL world in real life, and it's these beams of color are kind of swathing over the city. So that kind of says a lot without actually, having to use a lot of words. So that's cool. That is, the mixture of pictures and words that comics are supposed to be. But this part is pretty decompressed. And even this, I would ask, does that need to be 2 pages? Could that be as effective on 1 page? And if I was editor, that was probably something I would sit down and talk to Donny about. Make him defend why that should be a double-page spread. Fully admitting that that's probably an argument I would be inclined to let him win. I would just want to make him justify, make sure he's thinking about all of this, thinking about the reader and how much the reader is paying for the book and are they getting their money's worth. So as long as he could justify to me reasonably well why there should be a 2-page spread instead of, would it work as well as just one, I might let him win that argument. And here again, I would ask, does this need to be this decompressed? Because you look at this, granted, there's a lot of words here. It'll take you a minute or two to read, but it doesn't really say much. It's all kind of set up. And what you've got here in these panels is kind of a slow progression. It's like a camera panning out. These 2 pages amount to like 6 or 8 seconds of camera time if this was a TV show. And you've heard me say this again and again in these videos, and you will continue to hear me say it until you either get sick of it and stop watching, or until people stop doing it. But I'm convinced that most comic book writers today are writing as if they're writing movie and TV scripts. They don't actually know how to write a comic book. And so this might be how you would do a TV script, and you're describing the camera panning out. But does that work as a comic book? Would all of this work as well, maybe as 3 vertical panels instead of 3 horizontal ones? Get the same panning out effect, but take up a lot less page space to do it. Could it be one panel, maybe split? You've got several gutters there, which would imply a passage of time, the kid reading the book. So these are things I would make Donnie justify to me if I was his editor, and might even be inclined, as I said with this, to let him win. But again, not much happens here. It's just kind of, like I said, a 6-second camera shot, the camera starting close in on the comic book and then panning out until this big thing happens. So could all of this, these 2 pages, somehow be done on 1 page? And I haven't really read this. I've skimmed it, and so I know it's just mostly set up. But in journalism, I was a newspaper reporter for 15 years, and we talked about tight writing. Now, a lot of editors would interpret tight as short. That's because a lot of editors are stupid. But tight writing doesn't just mean short. It means using no unnecessary words, not repeating yourself. So again, could these 2 pages work as well as 1 page, and maybe not use as much wordage here to say the same thing? So I guess my question is, considering this is going to be, probably a 30-page book, could we get some plot action going and have these 4 pages done in 2 pages? This isn't as decompressed, as terrible as a lot of stuff. And if the rest of the book moves along and something actually happens, if the plotting is not absolutely glacial, then this would work just fine. But again, with Donnie, having read his previous work, I'm a little concerned that I'm going to read this entire issue for $4. Is it 4 or is it 5 being the first issue? No, it is 4, $3.99. I'm going to read this whole thing in about 10 minutes and not feel like I got my money's worth. Because, and I might feel like I got my money's worth of the first issue, but a lot of books these days, and this describes almost everything here in the Image Pantheon. You'll have a first issue that's really good, second issue that's pretty good, third issue that's, and you'll get a few issues of filler, and then the whole story will be wrapped up in maybe the last half of the last issue. Just boom, just tied right up quick. So that's kind of what I'm afraid is going on here. But having said all of that, I think I'm going to go ahead and put this on my pull list. I'm going to give it a try. So you leave a comment below. You tell me, do you think anything I've said makes any kind of sense at all? Or do you think I'm just way out there in the woolly wax? Do you plan to pre-order this book? Will you be trying it? Let me know what you think. I'm betting it's going to be a top seller for the month, for November, when the sales charts come out in probably January, February on Comic-Con. I bet you that crossover number 1 will be right up there in the top 10, probably top 15 at least. It'll probably move about 60 or 70,000 copies. That's my prediction. We'll come back and we'll see how I do on that. All right, so here is Kick-Ass versus Hit Girl. You know, I love the Kick-Ass movie, but Lord Love a Duck, it feels like that was 15, 20 years ago now. I don't know if the Hit Girl is going to work as well for me in print, because when I saw the Kick-Ass movie, I had never actually read the book. That might have actually helped my enjoyment of the movie, I don't know. But I'm not really inclined to give Hit Girl a try. And we talk about decompression, and here's a good example of it here. 2 pages of what is going to be, this is 32 pages, so again, not many ads in an image book. That'll probably be maybe 23, 24 pages of story. So you get 2 pages here, you know, maybe almost a tenth of the book. And what happens? 2 characters look at each other, and she jumps at them. And this isn't really much for a full page splash panel, unless there's a lot of dialogue going on up here or something. But again, those 2 pages could have been done easily, as easily or better as 1 page, or half a page, or a quarter page. The Darkness #1 25th anniversary commemorative edition. We must enunciate clearly, but clearly I was not a big fan of The Darkness 25 years ago, so I'm probably not going to be ordering that now. And by probably, I mean not at all. Monstrous, I hear some good things about Monstrous online, but not enough that I'm inclined to give it a try, I guess. 7 to Eternity #14, Rick Remender. I don't know why this is at the front of the image solicitations. Usually they do their #1s, then their new trade paperback offerings, and then the mid-run stuff is toward the back. Why 7 to Eternity #14 is kicked up to the front here, I have no idea. Unless, this part 1, is that a big whoop? I don't know. Are you reading this book? Let me know. Trade paperbacks, I'll just kind of flip through them and let you look at them. Nothing there that I'll be buying, in large part because I have a budget, a monthly budget. I spend about $25 or $30 a week on comic books. And, on my pull list, in order to add in a trade paperback that is 17, 15, $20, I've got to cut out 4 or 5 titles from my pull list. And usually there's not 4, 5, 6 books in a month that I want to stop buying in order to get a trade paperback. So if there's anything there that you're like, wow, that series is the greatest thing ever, and a trade paperback is the perfect jumping on spot, you should give it a try. Please do say so in the comments below. Let me know. But getting into the regular series books, let's talk about Image here for a second. Here's kind of my thing with Image. Image has no brand identity to speak of. They used to have their different, when they first started, they had their different publishing houses, and you knew what to expect from each one. These days, Image refers to itself as curated self-publishing, and I wonder if perhaps they should maybe curate it a little more closely, maybe have some imprints or something, so that when I look at a book, I've got a better idea what to expect, because there's just so much of Image, so much different. I don't know what anything is. And I'm all for diversity in comics. And by diversity in this case, I don't mean diversity of the skin color or naughty bits of characters or creators. I'm talking about diversity of genres. I don't want all comic books to be superhero comics. But by the same token, again, I look at Image's output. I have no idea what to expect from any one title. They're just all so different that I really do think that if they maybe developed some imprints, gave different titles a little bit more of a brand identity, so I had a better idea of what to expect from any given title, I might be more inclined to try. So we're going to go through these Image solicitations, and most things here I don't know anything about because I never tried it. I didn't dare. And then once it got going, if there was a lot of positive reviews out there in the fan press or online, I did not then jump into it, because the way comic books are written today, and especially these self-published image books, if you don't get in on issue 1, you might as well not get in at all, because you're just never going to be able to figure out what's going on. So, Bad Girls number 4, I don't know anything about that. Black Magic number 16, I don't know anything about this. It's Greg Rucka, so it's probably pretty woke. What do we got here? Young lesbians in love. She's tongue in her ear and looks like she's reaching down there. And, I don't know. Is that for me? I don't know. Maybe not. Bomb Queen. No idea what that's about. Choo Choo. Choo Choo. Choo Choo. Choo Choo. Yeah, I don't even know what to make of that art style. Coffin Bound number 8. Commanders in Crisis. That looks kind of manga-ish. I don't know. Dead Body Road, Bad Blood. Well, 6 of 6, so there's no point in jumping on there anyway. Decorum 7. Jonathan Hickman, but I don't know. Hickman doesn't really speak to me the way he does some people. Department of Truth, James Tynion, who's getting a lot of fanboy love right now, but I don't know. Die 15, Excellence 11, Family Tree 10. I don't know anything about any of these books. I'm not inclined to jump on now. Now here's a book I am getting, Firepower number 5 by Robert Kirkman and Chris Samney. In all honesty, Kirkman, I've never really loved anything he's done, even Walking Dead, and I came into Walking Dead after the TV show started. But nothing of his has really grabbed me. I bought this book largely because of Chris Samney. And it's okay so far. Getting It Together, that's one of those things that it's like, why is that even a comic book? That looks like it would be better as a New Yorker short story. And probably will make the New Yorker's list of the 10 best comic books of 2020. The Goddamned Virgin Brides. I am buying that. This is 5 of 5. I bought into that because of Jason Aaron. I've really liked his work at Marvel, on Thor, on Doctor Strange. But I haven't read. I think I've got 1 and 2 right now. 3 should be coming out soon. But I haven't actually read any of them yet, so I can't tell you anything about that. Probably going to end up waiting until I've got the whole thing to read it. Ice Cream Man. Now, I saw a lot of positive reviews for the Ice Cream Man quarantine special, particularly Rockin' Robbie. If you've ever seen the channel Pop Culture Philosophers, he was very effusive about the quarantine special. But I don't know anything about Ice Cream Man, so if you really think I should be trying that book, let me know. Inkblot. That looks interesting, but I don't even remember Inkblot number 1 and 2 being solicited. Emma Kubert. Is she related to Joe and Andy and Adam? I don't actually know. Philadelphia. Don't know anything about that. Lost Soldiers. The Marked. These are all books I don't know anything about. I'm counting on you to tell me in the comments rather this is something I should be hip to. Nailbiter Returns 7. Oblivion Song by Kirkman and Del Felici. I tried the first couple issues of that and bailed pretty quickly. Pretty Violent 11, Rat Queens 23, Redneck 30, Savage Dragon. There is one of my coworkers is probably the single greatest Erik Larsen Savage Dragon fan on the planet. And not just on this planet, but in all iterations of Earth and all Earths of the multiverse. I mean, if Erik Larsen ever walked into our store, which is .com Comics and Collectibles in Freeport, Maine, and Sean was there, Sean would just absolutely melt into a puddle of orgasmic bliss. So Sean was after me to try Savage Dragon, and so I did. I put it on my pull list at I think it was 243, and I just never got around to reading them, just because it was kind of an obligation. I was doing it for him, and then when 250 came out and it was a $10 book for like 80 pages, I'm like, I just can't do it. And so after that, I didn't add it back to my pull list, so I'm not getting it anymore. Um, so don't tell Sean. I don't think he watches my videos. So if you see him, don't tell him I'm not buying Savage Dragon anymore. But if you agree with him that I should be, that I should put that back on my pull list, that I should go read those issues that I bought, please say so. Sea of Stars number 9. Again, Jason Aaron. That's been okay. Scumbag number 2. Don't know anything. Spawn 312. Well, you gotta hand it to Todd for getting up there to 312. Be more impressive if, like Dave Sim, he had drawn all of those issues, or even most of them. So world record breaking comic, maybe. Again, I don't think the Spawn run of Todd McFarlane is anything near as impressive as the Cerebus run of Dave Sim. And I'm not speaking about the quality of one over the other. I'm just in the fact that Dave Sim drew all of his issues. Stillwater by Zdarsky and Perez. I just got the first issue this week. I haven't read it yet, but I bought that just because of Chip Zdarsky. So really, that's the common theme here with Image. If anything, I tend to buy something if I'm familiar with and already like the writer, and in some cases the artist, but mostly for me it's the writer. Tartarus number 7, That Texas Blood number 6. I think I did get the first issue, and I don't think I ever actually read it. Undiscovered Country, Scott Snyder. I have been buying that, and I'm probably right on the verge of dropping it. Matter of fact, I don't think I'm going to put this issue on my pull list, and it's just a matter of, it's just kind of meh for me. It doesn't feel like it's worth $4 any one issue. So if you feel differently, again, let me know. Unearth number 10, Walking Dead Deluxe number 2, Walking Dead Deluxe number 3, and that's it. That's Image Comics. So what am I getting here for Image for November? It looks like I will be getting crossover number 1. So that's 1. What was it? Firepower number 5. So that's 2. Goddamn Virgin Brides 5. That's 3. What else did I say? Sea of Stars 9. Stillwater 3. So that's 5. 5 books I will be getting from Image in November 2020. DC, I think I'm only getting 3 or 4. Marvel, as I've noted, I've already done a video for that. You can find that in my history. And I think I'm getting like 7 books from Marvel in November, but 4 of those are True Believer reprints. Dark Horse Comics, I'll be getting 6 from Dark Horse. So I'm getting more Dark Horse comics than Image, Marvel, or DC in November. So what will I be getting for Dark Horse? Well, for that, you'll have to come back for the next video. Until then, goodbye, good luck, and please be good to each other.